Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we are going to be reacting to one of my first houseplant tours. Actually my first houseplant tour ever. So this one is only 14 minutes long and after this all my houseplant tours were much longer. So I'm interested to see, like, I know that my collection was really small at the time, so I'm just interested to see what was in it because this was in 2019, like January 2019. It was one of my first YouTube videos actually. So that is going to bring some funny things in itself, I'm sure, but let's get started. We start out by entering and seeing like what it all looks like. Oh my gosh, this apartment was so tiny. It was like 200 or 300 square feet and I shared it with my best friend. And we're still friends after that.
Good evening, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy that you're here. If you don't know me, my name is Becca, and basically what I do on here is just share my plant journey with you, my plant experiences.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Like seeing myself with bangs and no glasses, it's like a different person.
Just of my inside plants. So I have a lot of plants outside, and I'm going to save that for another video, just in fear of this video becoming too long.
Back when I didn't want my videos to be very long, like 14 minutes I think was a very long video for me.
To insert like a little section down here of all of the scientific names that I do know. And before we get into the video, make sure that you have
900 followers on Instagram.
I have a really
oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
And I love the Instagram plant community, so if you wanted to be a part of that, I would love for you to give me a follow and join in on the plant family fun.
Oh my gosh, so nervous. Wow, look at that.
First plant up for the tour is my
I still have that plant. It's up on my wall.
I just hacked this plant up if you saw my last video, and I'm propagating some more leaves to add to the top. And I have this in a hanging planter that I also made in another video where I made this from start to finish. I have these dried oranges still up from Christmas, and that's probably pretty gross considering they're like
they're supposed to be hard, Becca. That's the whole point. Oh my gosh. This is like a huge north window, by the way. That's like, it was a big window, but it wasn't very bright at all because it was north and it had like a little awning on it. As you can see, there's like a little cover. And like at nighttime, we got lots of light in there, but not that much otherwise. And I don't know what happened to this plant. I think it's dead. Well, it's dead, obviously. I still don't have it. I do still have this one.
Also repotted it in a past video, and I got this cutting.
Yeah, I still have that. It doesn't look that good anymore because I haven't watered it in like a really long time. I kind of stopped caring for it as well. But yeah, those are cuttings from my grandma's plant. And my grandma's plant actually died after she repotted it. She didn't repot it for like 7 years and then she repotted it and it died.
Useless. Here on the windowsill I have a baby PILEA peperomioides that actually did nothing, and I think that the soil was just a little bit too compacted for it, so I've just...
Yeah, Becca, that doesn't look good.
This is a Christmas or Thanksgiving...
You know what? That plant looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. I don't think it's grown really at all. Maybe it's grown like a few extra pieces, but it still looks pretty much exactly like that.
This is my other baby PILEA
not dying. Thanks for the commentary, Becky.
Super well. This one has really fast draining soil, so I think that's why this one did better than that one. Next to that
this is so
a
messy.
POTHOS cutting. This is just one of my roommate's plants. So my roommate and I combined plants, and so some of these are hers, some of these are mine. The majority of the inside plants are mine though. Here we have my African violet, which has done absolutely nothing since its first bloom, and
I've tried so many times with African violets, but I can only ever get them to bloom the first time and then never again.
So hoping for some blooming soon. I have my Monstera, my baby Monstera, situated here in this window for now, because in the place that I had it before, it doesn't fit on that windowsill anymore. And I just wanted to make sure that it was getting at least some light because there's really no better place for it right now. So like I said, I am planning on getting some supplemental light to put in this window because I really need it.
Oh my gosh. That is so cute. It's so little at that point. I've combined it with another Monstera, so it's hard to tell like how big it is now, but it has some really, really big leaves.
Pretty basic.
Yeah, it's gotten so much bigger than that. It's amazing.
Well, so far. This is my Mama Pilea, and
I don't remember what happened to this plant. I think it might have died when I moved, but this one was...
These are babies that are growing off of the trunk, so they're a little bit more difficult to remove. That's why I haven't removed a lot of them.
Yeah, this one only grew babies along the trunk, and I don't know why. My other Pilea that I have now is growing them in the soil, but it never grew soil pups, only ever off of the trunk. It was crazy.
Here I have my Philodendron Hope, and this is the bushy variety of the Philodendron Sellum, the huge ones that we see a lot in Florida, just growing naturally. And this plant is so hard to tell whether or not it's healthy. It seems healthy because it's putting out new growth, and it's reaching for the light.
Yeah, it was not bright enough for it. It did really bad in this apartment. It was great in my first house that I had it in, but this place,
that it's starting to
not
get
happy.
some light off of this grow light that I added in this little section. So we'll see. This little section, these are some of my most prized possession plants. This is my little ficus corner.
Most prized possession plants would be my ficus. It's interesting, Becca.
This is my first house plant that I ever bought. I had a basil plant, but this was like first tropical house plant. And it has grown really well in this house, despite
it did look really good there.
And but I wanted to put it under this grow light.
I still have that grow light bulb, and it's a good bulb.
It's only been a few days, but so far it looks really awesome.
Yeah, that grow light really... There's the Altissima that is like the plant that I hated so much. It did actually end up dying. Yeah, I wanted that plant for a long time, but...
I love the coloring of these leaves. The detail we have here.
It was so pretty at this point, but as it got older, just horrible. And that rubber tree looks pretty much exactly the same now. It hasn't really grown that much since 2019, which is not good. But it put out like maybe 4 new leaves this last summer, but it pretty much looks exactly the same size.
It's so gorgeous. It's really hard to believe that something like this exists just naturally. Up here I have another hanging pothos that will be going to my classroom. I bought this from Lowe's.
Yeah, I had that plant up until like a few weeks ago. It died recently.
Got it from the store, but I knew it just needed a water. So I gave it a water and it's perked up so beautifully. I love these. They're so easy.
Yeah, they were really great to have in my classroom. I had like all north windows in my classroom. Oh my gosh, look at that photo. Did you see that photo of me and my friend? I think that was from when we were in middle school. So funny.
And maybe not grow a ton, but just be there for pretty.
Is that a silver stripe, you guys?
So this is a philodendron.
Yeah, I don't know. That one wasn't mine. That was hers, so I didn't really pay attention to it.
You can usually tell which plants are hers because she has these pretty pots. And up here, this is actually my roommate's mom gave this to me.
It's like a cream holder, and I still have it to this day.
Planter that I put this Brazil cutting in, and nothing has happened. It has not grown, not even a little bit, but it has stayed alive, and I water it, you know, once a month maybe. And up here we have a pothos, which has been super happy right there. By our front door and the swamp cooler.
The swamp cooler was great for humidity though. It was very humid in our house.
Plant, and this is my roommate's, and I need to replace this macrame hanger.
Oh god, that was one of my first macrame pieces I ever made.
To just like practice on, but now that I know how to make them, I would really like to put it in a nicer hanger made out of like cotton rope. Here we have one of my favorite plants. This is a pothos, and I love this plant just because it's so easy. When I got it from the store, it was mislabeled as a philodendron. And then finally I realized that it's a jade pothos. So that was really exciting. That was one of my first plant breakthroughs. And it's sitting in a macrame hanger.
I love that hanger.
Made. Really proud of this one actually.
I'm still proud of that.
Just like it. This windowsill probably gets the best light in the house. This entire area. And this is in my kitchen.
Oh my gosh, that kitchen was so cool. It's like I mean, it was like a vintage enamel kitchen, like completely intact. It had never been touched. The oven still worked. The fridge still worked. Like everything still worked. The stove. It was awesome. And it was such a small space that we didn't have a microwave or anything. And we had a mini fridge for both of us. So we would go grocery shopping pretty often, but you know, when you're just one person, it's not that big of a deal. And if we needed to heat up food, we just use the oven or the stove. And then when it was cold, we could just leave the oven open and it would heat like pretty much the whole house, like after we were cooking with it. It was great. I mean, little area, but it was very cute.
Very tiny kitchen. But yeah, so this actually generates most of the light for the house plant-wise. So let's take a closer look. Up here I have my wax.
The lighting is so bad in this video. It really is like indicative of the lighting in the whole house. It was very dark in there.
We'll start to trail down onto our dishes.
Oh man, I love wax ivies, but I had bad luck with them every time.
My Hoya Carnosa.
My first Hoya.
Although I think that third color is gone. But it is a super beautiful plant that actually went bald because it was in a different place that wasn't getting light at the very top of it. So now hopefully it's getting some light at the top and growing some leaves.
I don't think it ever grew any new leaves.
My trusty Chinese evergreen. This plant is always putting out new leaves. And actually this plant is the one that taught me so much about the life cycle of a leaf.
True.
Here we have a fresh...
I think I'll always have one of these just for that. Also, see that little red thing on the floor? We used to cook our eggs on the floor because there was no counter space.
The color is so vibrant. And then we have leaves like this, which are starting to yellow. And I usually let them get a little bit more yellow than this and then I pluck it off. But for every leaf that ages and ends up falling off, there's like 3 more coming in. So we have a new leaf right here and here. And then there's another one somewhere around in there. So if it loses a leaf, it'll grow another one, and it's just a really great
wisdom, Becky.
The life cycle of a plant. Over here we have a tiny little ivy. This is my roommate's, and she actually bought this to replace my old wax ivy that died, because we both like ivies a lot. So it's got.
I never got ivies after this point because they just always died.
Here is my
original FITTONIA.
In all of her glory, she is gorgeous.
Yeah, she needed pruning really bad.
Plant by far. It's starting to branch out and take on a kind of weird shape. It still takes beautiful pictures, so that's all I really care about. Here I have the jade pothos rooting in water.
I think I brought that to a plant swap or something.
So many leaves that could come with it, so this could definitely make another plant. Alright, here if you can see is my silver dollar vine.
I also brought that to a plant swap. It never grew.
I love it. I found it at my local
literally never grew anything.
And I recently potted it up in another video. So if you want to see that, you can go watch it. Here I have, if you can see the difference, I have 3 things in here propagating. I have a baby spider right here. Then I have a rickrack cactus here. And then another piece of rickrack.
It's so disorganized.
These are all in this little jar, and I think that they're doing well. And then this plant right here is my snake plant. It's not variegated, it's just a solid.
I still mix up spider plants and snake plants like all the time.
I know that
that was a plant from a cutting, like a little spiderette.
Baby off of it, and I'm excited for more. This is a cutting of my heartleaf philodendron. I noticed that it was getting a little bit stringy, so I just cut off the part that was longer than the rest of it and put it in water. Up here I have my MONSTERA ADANSONII in this hanging planter in a pot that my roommate actually got me for Christmas, and it is so lovely. And it seems to be
I got that off of Amazon, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that in this video, but I thought I was getting the wide form, but I got the skinny form or the narrow form, and I just did not like it.
Our last stop for the indoor plants. I have this tiny little
macrame hanger is terrible.
That I made when I moved into this house. It has 4 tiers. They're not even tiers by any means, but
that's right, Becca.
I was just messing around and I ended up liking it.
The spacing is so bad.
First, I have a very small and somewhat insignificant string of hearts.
Yeah, I think I paid like 30 bucks for that online, and I was like horrified that I spent that much.
It obviously wasn't during the growing season, so I'm sure that during the growing season it'll give me a lot more. Next up, I have a small little strawberry. What? Strawberry? Oh, I have a small little snake plant. What the? Oh my gosh. I have a small. What is this? It's a spider plant. I have a small spider plant.
It's actually so difficult to just like name plants after you've been naming a bunch of other plants.
And then above that, I have a Brazil cutting.
It's very hard.
I talked about in another video about.
I still have that. It's up here. And it actually looks a little bit bigger than that now. I thought that it hadn't grown at all, but it has grown.
Above that, I have my Hartley philodendron.
And that died.
Is lovely. And
I didn't water it for a very long time.
To propagate that I'll probably add to this same pot.
Okay, so that is the end of that video. And this apartment took on like so many different looks. Like my roommate redecorated all the time and like moved things around. She likes to mess with her spaces. And I honestly wasn't there like that often because this is when Daniel and I we weren't engaged at this point, or wait, no, we were engaged at this point. So I was like always with him. But anyway, so it really wasn't bad like living together. Like we had a ton of fun and like we're still really good friends to this day. But it was the smallest place I've ever lived and one of the cutest places I've ever lived. And really it's the place that I started my YouTube channel. So it was a really, really special place to me. And I look very fondly upon that apartment, or it was like a duplex. It was a really sweet little duplex. There's also a patio tour, so let me know if you want to see a part 2 reacting to my first houseplant tour, because I split it into 2 and I had like a really big covered patio outside. I also had a lot of plants out there, and I eventually did start moving my houseplants out onto the patio because it was covered and just like a really nice place to have plants. That place was like an oasis, honestly. It was so awesome, and I could walk to work from there too, which was really nice. So anyway, that is pretty much where my plant journey started. I mean, I was pretty like developed in it, but I think I had maybe 50 plants or so at that point, maybe 40, 50 plants at that point. And I was trying to grow my Instagram and YouTube channel, and it's funny to look back at that time and like just thinking how long ago that was, but also how not long ago that was, and how much has changed between now and then. I mean, I wasn't married, I was a teacher fresh out of college, and now I'm living in Missouri, married, 2 dogs, and I'm self-employed. It's just like really crazy how much can change in just a couple of years. And yeah, I guess it's also like just cool to think about what my life will look like in another 2 years. I think that it'll look very different from how it looks now. Well, different but the same, because I know I'll still be living here, but I think that things, I don't know, could possibly be different in a lot of ways as well. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video and taking a walk down memory lane with me. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.